guys, and welcome to an exciting video because I have a new mantis. Now I wanted to give you a little bit of a backstory into this tank before we get to meet the mantis. So let's start there. So this, you might recognise, is a Bioactive. This was a tank by Oaz. They usually have the Biorbs, but they had Bioactive and they gifted it to me. I had some reservations about it, and also the size of the tank isn't really suitable for many reptiles or amphibians, so considering it was over £1,000, I just didn't think it was something I would necessarily recommend or think many people would go out and buy. Though I do appreciate they gave it to me, it's just been a very good tank to grow plants, and as you can see, like, this is this thick in baby's tears, so no doubt that the light in this for plant growth is really good. As I mentioned in the original unboxing video, the UV lamp I've never had on because I don't think it's safe. And if you can hear a sound right now, that is a fan. So this is on quiet mode, but you can always kind of hear it going. This is, as I said, app controlled, so temperature, humidity, rain, all of that, fog, that's all controlled and that can be set to come on. So that is the environment my mantis is in. I know a lot of people have much simpler setups, and when I first got my first ever mantis, which was Timothy, some people were a bit concerned about setup. So let's talk about Timothy. Timothy was a Timor shield mantis. I certainly started off with a giant. I really didn't have many expectations when it came to mantis. I always thought they were really cool, but I meant, like, you know, I didn't know if I was really going to be able to handle him or interact with him. So having this tank where the plants were growing really, really well and he could live in there, I thought, okay, this could be more of like what people might call a display animal, something that you don't really interact with, but they can live just nicely in their tank. But I found out that actually mantis are awesome, and he was absolutely fine with being handled. He ate well, he grew well, he lived his, well, I say he's a girl. Timothy is a girl, but I'll say he anyway. Lived his entire life in this tank, grew massively and did really well. So when Timothy actually died, I actually did cry. I was so sad, and I buried him in one of my gecko's bioactive tanks, so he will, you know, be part of the tank still. I don't know if that's really sad, but I was genuinely really sad to see him go because he was such a character. And so it's been a while since I had another mantis. I had this tank still growing plants. I kind of left it a bit. As you can see, they're a bit leggy. It's quite overgrown now. And we moved into a different room. This isn't in the reptile room. And I was just thinking, I miss having a mantis. So at my local shop they actually had quite a few mantis in, and I looked at the ones they had available, and I sort of did some research on each one and figured what would be best for me, what would be best for the tank, what looked really cool. To be honest, they did have like a violin mantis, which they're really cool as well, but I ended up going for a jeweled flower mantis. So let me introduce you to Gloria. Now, being that this tank is so big, you might be like, you're gonna lose her in this, but I can see her right now. She's actually just here. So generally I found, at least with Timothy and now with Gloria, they tend to stay high up, and there's quite a few areas that come up off the ground. So when she needs to molt, she's gonna have loads of different options, so it's not an issue. But yeah, my boyfriend did say originally, he was like, don't put her in the tank, you're gonna lose her, but it's all good, you just have to look carefully. So, this is Gloria up close. She is really tiny. She's a lot smaller than Timothy was, and she's obviously not going to get as big because the Timor shield mantis, I believe, get like 8 to 10 centimeters long, whereas these guys, I think it's like 3.5, 4.5 centimeters, so it's going to be a lot smaller. So this tank is going to remain massive to her, but I just hope that, you know, she enjoys living in this little tropical forest. Now, as for food, obviously mantis can eat a lot, and that's one thing I really actually enjoyed having Timothy. Like, with my jumping spiders, they tend to only eat flies. I know people will feed them all different things, but they mainly ate flies or waxworm pupa, whereas Timothy would eat absolutely anything, so that was really handy. But because Gloria is so small, I did get some fruit fly culture, and also because this tank's been going for so long, there's all sorts of little bugs that live in there, like springtails and little flies anyway, so there's stuff just naturally occurring in there, as well as the food I put in. And when she gets a little bit bigger and I've seen her molt, then maybe we'll move on to slightly bigger prey. But she's doing so well in here. Now I'll open up the top of this tank. This is one thing I didn't like about the tank, is how you open it, because it can just fall in, so I'm very careful. But as you can see, we've got some branches coming in from that corner, and so they go quite high, but there's a few different options, so she doesn't have to rely on the baby's tears. But this baby's tears is so dense that she could easily just walk on top of it. We've got a load of, I think these are Photonias in the back. They've grown so well. And there was originally a polka dot begonia, but that always got a bit too big for the tank. So you can see bits of it here still growing, but yeah. And you can also see little flies in the air, and that's what Gloria's going to eat. But yeah, when I first put her in, she sat on the branch. She soon moved over to this polka dot begonia. And she sort of remains there most of the time. One thing I really love about Mantis is they like to climb upwards. So as long as you're offering that, she will just come out on your hand, so it's not too difficult to hold her. You can't really see very well because I haven't got my macro lens on, so it's not very close. I've got my wide angle, but you can see her on my hand right now. That did not take much. So that's one thing that always surprised me with Timothy as well. It's like, they're actually quite easy to handle. The difficult part is putting them back in the tank, because they're constantly trying to climb upwards. So, yeah, she's just, look at her. She's so cool. And now she gets to live in this massive enclosure. So I'm going to try to attempt to put her back in. There you go, on the leaf. She's so delicate as well, and one thing I've discovered is she can jump very well. But there you go, there she's on her leaf. And yeah, so I just wanted to show you this to you guys, show you how the tank's still doing. I don't know if this tank is still available in the UK. I can't imagine they sold a lot, and I feel bad because obviously they did gift it to me, probably to promote. But I can't lie to you guys, when something's that expensive and there's some tech in there with the UV that I was concerned about, and the heating from below, which I never have on because this tank is like warm enough anyway. But maybe in the winter it kicks in, but right now it probably doesn't. I think that's why the fan's on. But there were so many things that concerned me that I didn't want to recommend it to you guys, even though I did get gifted it, I just have to be honest. But yeah, it works well for a Mantis tank if you get one cheap. But yeah, sorry, I have a really creaky floor here. Anyway, I can continue to document Gloria's life if you like. Make sure you like this video, but thank you for watching, guys, and goodbye.